Hello and welcome to New Videocast. I'm Layla Swan and I lead communications at New. Our guest today is Eric Young, our new Chief Technology Officer. In his career, Eric has amassed a wealth of experience leading tech teams in Silicon Valley powerhouses such as Amazon, Google, and Snap. He's here today to talk about his approach to technology and AI and future opportunities for disruption. Eric, welcome to New and thank you for joining us at Videocast.
Well, thank you, Layla. It's great to be here today, joining from our Sao Paulo, Brazil offices, and welcome to everyone else who's joining us on this podcast. It's my first time in Brazil. I'm learning the culture quickly as possible. I wish I could say I was learning Portuguese, but maybe we could try that again in a few podcasts from now, and you can quiz me there.
Absolutely. I'll take you up on that promise.
I'm looking forward to it. I'll do my work.
So, Eric, let's jump right in. Can you tell us a little bit more about why you decided to join Nubank? And also, more generally, how do you see the role of a chief technology officer in a tech company?
Well, it's an exciting time right now in the industry. The advances of AI and ML mean that there's a number of industries that we can actually disrupt. And, financial service is an industry that many of us don't actually think about being on the pioneering edge of disruption. But Nubank kind of has a history here. There's a history of serving 123 million customers across Latin America, Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, and really defining a new level of expectation of customer service and financial inclusion. And so when I think about the role of the CTO, it's about how do we build new products and new services that create experiences that maybe customers haven't thought of before,
Yeah.
and that can really impress them, and we take them to a potentially global scale. So it's an exciting time to be joining. I'm excited to be here and matched by an incredible team. We're working very closely with our products organization, our markets organization, and then our design team. And I'm pretty excited to share my new hire status with Ethan Eisman, who just joined us as our Chief Design Officer. And we're really going to work together in creating that next level of product, the product performance that all of our Nubank customers expect to see and experience day to day. We're going to be developing both new experiences as well as kind of a redefined benchmark of performance and design and UX. In addition to building the product side, we also work a lot on trying to build internal productivity infrastructure to make our employees more productive and effective in their role. And it's pretty exciting. I have a funny story to share. I think I was 2 days into the role when I was talking with our Chief Human Resources Officer, and she was talking to me about a Slack integration that she was trying to create. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty incredible. You have our Chief Human Resources Officer working on elevating the craft in HR to create a Slack bot. But she's like, I can't access a certain data set that I need. And she was then talking about building a model context protocol integration. And I thought to myself, what is this that I joined? This is incredible. Like, you have people that are actually top of their craft, looking to use the tools of today to elevate the work that all of us will kind of see as the workplace of tomorrow. So really, really special moment. And it made me think like I joined the right place. Excited to
Yeah,
be here.
no, that's such a great story because we are all training on our AI tools. And just the other day, we were vibe coding, even us in comms. So it is a great opportunity to learn. And
The vibe coding experience is fun for all of us. I enjoy it as well.
we're all jumping on the bandwagon. So, Eric, like you mentioned, it's only been a few weeks, and I know you're working very closely with Vitor, who's our former chief technology officer. What has stood out to you in this last few weeks? Is this something like surprising, or is this what you expected? Can you tell us a little bit more about expectations?
I really love the hands-on approach and the expectation that everyone in the organization, regardless of level, is expected to be in the details. For me, that's quite exciting. I saw it firsthand, actually, in the interview process. I hadn't done case studies in my career before, but the idea that you present an analysis in a field that I did not work in previously. I worked in tech, but not in financial services, and be able to present a view of the world and present how you think the technology platform should serve it, and how we can kind of manage, cost efficiently in that world. I think I've seen the same thing since being here. My first few days, we are diving into application performance. I saw the leaders at our recent offsite going really close into the details of their area and surfacing what they need to do. And so I see a very flat organizational structure. I see expectations that everybody's spending more time focused in their team and in their area to understand specifically what's working and what's not working, and having this real truth-seeking, truth-telling culture where you kind of elevate what's not working so you can improve and address your craft. Because the only way we can build for consumers and invent new experiences is by actually knowing what's not working optimally for them. And so you really have to go into detail to make that happen. And I see that real expectation and consistency across the leadership bench where everybody is doing just that. I think what I realized that's been pretty remarkable is that the level of technical talent that was bootstrapped in a company that started in Brazil, where there wasn't a whole bunch of large incumbent tech players that I'm accustomed to in Seattle or Silicon Valley, built an incredibly strong technical team. I mean, incredibly strong. It would match the great talent that you'd see in many, many of our, peer companies that I had the good fortune of working at. And that team is very customer obsessed, very mission driven. They're very focused about driving financial inclusion, reading, you know, removing complexity to be able to bring new products to market so more and more of our users are able to benefit from the products that we're building. And so for me, I look at this kind of like the early days when I was at Amazon back in 2000, when there was this kind of strong mentality of being customer obsessed, trying to figure out how do we build new products and new solutions that can kind of reinvent a new normal for the customer experience. And I think that's what Nubank engineers are motivated to do here. It's what the product team and design team is collaborating to build together. And so it's a special moment. And it's a special moment, particularly because we have so many more tools than we had even back in 2000 with all the advances again in AI and ML to reinvent kind of a whole industry and segment.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad you called out the team. I think we have about 30% of Nubank are in the tech area, and you can definitely see the vibrancy in those teams.
It is, and tech is now permeating kind of all parts of our business here at Nubank, and exciting to see everyone elevating their craft with it too.
But still on that tone, I think we can I think it's fair to say that, the reason why Nubank was able to be so nimble and challenge a very strong and consolidated incumbent industry here in Brazil is because we had a tech first approach. So I'm wondering, like, what are your first impressions as well on the tech platform that we built? And what are your thoughts about, having proprietary infrastructure as opposed to buying?
Well, this is a great question. I have to be honest. When I was first contacted about this role to join Nubank, I didn't know enough about Nubank, not coming from the US, but I also, when you've mentioned banks, you don't usually think of cutting edge technology. You really don't go there naturally. And I kind of was pretty excited to see that this was a company that was built to disrupt. It was built to think about the problem space differently. It's an all mobile experience. So trying to build a low cost, mobile accessible experience that can handle scale, reach, 100 plus million users. And it was built with a cloud backend. You often think about traditional data centers, you think about legacy infrastructure, mainframes. Many of the big banks were assembled with basically 100 plus acquisitions coming together to build a technology stack. Nubank was designed from the very beginning to be mobile first, cloud enabled, which allows us to achieve scale and cost and pass those savings back on to our consumers. Some of the tech audience listening today might have assumed that. But what's kind of even more interesting is how it works further down in the stack. It's really bold to start a startup and have some very strong principles about how to build software. And Ed, one of our co-founders, took a really deliberate approach early on to say canonical ways consistently applied will be the way that we build software. And so they made some really key investments early on to focus on the way data is stored. We call it immutability, to ensure that people can't overwrite a transaction with another transaction. You can only append and adjust going forward. We built functional programming languages that allowed us to effectively decouple business logic from implementation details. And that enables our team to move very fast. It enables our team to move fast, but do it in a very safe way. And you think about the regulation that exists in financial services, it's very important to iterate quickly, but never expose your customers to risk, because ultimately it's people's financial assets that we're managing, and that's a very strong responsibility on us. And then once the software is built, much like many of the leading tech companies, it's all focused on continuous integration, meaning builds that are checked in get built and then ultimately deployed into production in a kind of phased manner so that we have strong control over the quality all the way through the release process. And this is super important as we enable ourselves for an AI first world where the technology stack is going to evolve and change quickly over the years to come.
Well, great segue to my next question. We talked a little bit about, being an exciting time for disruption, and we've touched a little bit about AI. But can you tell us a little bit more, like where do you see the opportunities for disruption in tech in general, but also in this industry? And I know it's a broad question.
What's really exciting is that a lot of the same large language models that are powering, you might have used OpenAI's ChatGPT or Google Gemini. These products are magical. They show you a new sense of the world that consumers can see directly. But that same technology behind the scenes that's kind of predicting the next word in a series of word clippets effectively is the same technology you can use to understand financial transaction history. And if you apply that prediction model to other use cases, we can improve, for example, our ability to predict where we could lean forward on a credit extension to a customer. And that allows us to expand lending, bring more people into the financial economy, and then be able to do that in a way that doesn't grow risk for our business. We can also use it to manage customer service and inquiries and give customers immediate responses to their questions by using the same kind of large language models fine-tuned on data that we need to help our customers with. So there's a lot to do here, but we really think the future is providing access to these kind of higher level services like AI private banking that used to only be available to the ultra wealthy, and now use that knowledge and expertise and democratize it, provide it available to everybody. But it will take steps and time to get there so we can do it in a reliable and safe way.
Time. That's a great point. I think I had David Bellis here at Videocast, and he was telling me it's hard to predict what's going to happen in 10 days, let alone 10 years. How do you organize and plan to use this technology when everything is changing so fast?
Well, I'm smart enough not to make predictions on a recorded podcast that I'll go back and watch on YouTube or somewhere else down the road. But I can tell you that, look, in the moment we're in right now, the only certainty is that the technology is going to evolve and the landscape is going to continue to improve. So we have to build systems that allow us to take these learnings, rapidly deploy them again across our software stack, and evolve as we capture new insights and new technology. So we think about this across the whole stack, everything from our data layer to capture the semantic meaning of what the data represents, passing it in a kind of real-time manner to downstream systems that can basically take those inputs and feed them into our models as features, as well as allow us to train new models and new insights that are capable of recognizing new patterns. And that allows us to tailor and personalize the experience. So at Nubank, the company had acquired, prior to my time here, another company called Hyperplane that has really enabled us to advance our understanding of user knowledge, behavioral insights, and foundational models. Same type of foundational models that would power something like a chat GPT could be used to understand better the financial performance and the financial risks that might be associated with certain decisions that we might take. And so it's a broad opportunity to kind of provide more personalized banking services, but also a lot better fidelity decisions in how we predict risk, how we assess it.
And now that you've mentioned the Hyperplane team, they are today our AI core team, and they're helping everyone in the company with a lot of foundational models that I think will be game changing. But more to come on that. We're not announcing anything just yet.
Not quite yet, but a lot of work has been done to lay the stage. And one of the cool technologies we did publish a paper on is called New Former.
Yeah.
And it is an opportunity to kind of see how we're applying the latest in like sequence modeling and transformer architectures to be able to improve more sophisticated decisions in our stack. So,
Well, I'm going to have to ask as a layperson, can you tell us a little bit more about what transformer technology is and the relevance of this paper?
that's great. So again, the transformer paper was the foundation for what we ended up seeing in large language models like Google Gemini and OpenAI's ChatGPT. And what it was able to do is to kind of track attention through a sequence of effectively words in their cases to attend to what might be the relevant meaning in a large passage of information. And that allows the model to have better understanding of knowledge and to predict what might happen next in a sequence. And that prediction capability allows us to apply like what might be the next word in a sentence. To do that, it's not just memorizing what historically happened, but it's having a really good context of knowledge about what might be the next word given what someone is trying to do.
So predicting with some reasoning behind it.
Exactly. And so the combination of intelligence and being able to predict what comes next allows us to understand what is normal and what is not, what is high risk, what is lower risk.
Amazing. It's all exciting stuff ahead. So Eric, like I'm in comms and there's no shortage of articles and there's so much hype about AI. Do you think there's a bubble in the field?
I honestly don't think there's a bubble. The opportunity for AI to disrupt so many industries, whether it's financial, health, just knowledge working, there is so much opportunity that the applications of machine learning are not at a risk of basically being exhausted. Really, where the risk is that we might get more efficient. I remember just a year ago, DeepSeek R1 model launched, and it was a breakthrough. Like it had elements of efficiency that was able to achieve something with less computational power than what had been achieved to date. And those type of breakthroughs will make it more efficient to deploy ML solutions. They might be breakthroughs that drive lower cost or greater productivity, maybe even new capability. But the application of machine learning, the domain is very rich, and the number of use cases for the industry to solve will be here for some time to come.
Do you think applications are moving at the same speed as consumer expectations on this?
Well, honestly, consumer expectations are moving very fast in some segments. That which wasn't possible just some time back and seemed inconceivable that it would actually be the future is now mainstream. I mean, you can pick anything from self-driving cars to AI chatbots that can have conversations with you. There is a lot happening in a very short period of time. So I do think consumer expectations are growing fast, and some industries are probably further behind others. I'd say the industry we're in is very ripe for disruption, and one where we hope to bring, our solutions to help redefine the new normal for our users.
Eric, can you let us know about AI tool usage in Nubank? I know we have very high rates of usage of tools. How do you see that? Is it going to grow? And I'm looking especially to direct the question to coding.
Yeah. So it's an exciting time. Like most companies, the ones I previously worked at as well as here, we're embracing, code generation and AI tooling for productivity. We're actually extending it, as you mentioned, vibe coding to the non-traditional tech workforce. Whether it's designing user experiences, whether it's managing customer support, whether it's helping one kind of gain more knowledge about their area or the business. In fact, we have a shared notebook LM kind of deployment of a lot of docs, and I've used it as part of my onboarding to rapidly get up to speed at Nubank. And so the enabling capabilities brought by it is really incredible. And I actually think most people use it as a personal tutor to help them with actions and automation. And we're using it now to automate a lot of our back-end business processes to help us take new products to market faster, as well as make ourselves more productive in our roles.
Yeah. We have a fantastic tech team here, and we're always looking to attract even better talent. How do you see the future of coding for new engineers and new developers coming into the market right now?
It is truly an exciting time. I think everyone's natural inclination is that when a new technology comes out, it's, oh no, it's going to disrupt the whole field and no one will have work anymore. But the reality is, it's like throughout human history, advancements in automation have always elevated people's craft. It changes the work there, but there's an opportunity to do more. The calculator didn't replace the need for people to be mathematicians or scientists. In fact, some of the biggest breakthroughs in machine learning are all driven based on math. And so when we can elevate the tools of our craft, we can enrich the quality of work that we all do. Now, what I'd say is if you're entering the field of coding, it doesn't mean there's no need to understand code, because ultimately somebody has to oversee these agents or these kind of coding agents that are helping us develop. And that means that you have to understand what quality looks like. You have to know how to prompt the model. You have to be able to reject changes. If you just blindly accept everything the model is doing, that's not going to effectively build the quality of systems that we need going forward. So I do think there's an opportunity where everybody should be AI literate. They should think about how to reinvent their space using these tools and elevate their craft using these tools. But the standard of understanding, what high quality is still implies that everybody needs to know the details of how to make it happen. But certainly it's an exciting time where I think a lot of the junior engineers who may have just been writing code on their own can now advance, early in their career to start getting involved in architecture and system design, because software development is not just about the code construction, it's about the design of systems and the quality of the product that we ultimately produce. I'd love to see more time spent there.
Great. And you went right to the next point that I wanted to make, because you mentioned the word craft, and that's a key principle in our product development. How do engineers work with our product management teams, and how do we elevate the user experience? How do you guys work together to ensure, that the customer obsession that we have at the company really reflects in the products we launch?
At the end of the day, performance is our product. How we deliver our product to our users is effectively our storefront, our physical presence, because everybody is accessing our bank through their mobile app and pocket. And so what's excited here is everything from application performance, how fast is it to load? Is the page loading consistently? We have this technique or this metric called layout shift on the page. And can we verify that we're not causing users, kind of an interrupted viewing experience? So as we work with the design team, we try to focus on standards. They define the information architecture. They define the critical user journeys. They help us understand where users are experiencing friction in the process. And they try to create new experiences that can delight users in a way that's unexpected and magical. And we know we have more work to do to really perfect our craft here, but together, engineering focused on the implementation side, the design team focused more on what are we trying to achieve, and bringing that how and what together in a way that really produces an experience that consumers walk away with highly grateful of and hopefully delighted by. And again, I think one of the core things I spent my first couple of weeks focused on is our application performance. And I think with Ethan's team and Ethan being here in the next several quarters, I'm really excited about what we might be able to do on this front.
We all are. Let's talk a little bit about platforms that operate at scale. Of course, you're coming to us from an experience, at Amazon, Google, and Snap with multi-millions of customers around the world. How do you see that applying to New?
First off, it's a multi-trillion-dollar market. We have an opportunity to really disrupt in this area. So there needs to be a focus on scale, because there's users in our existing market we're not serving well enough. There's users who are not on our platform yet, and there's global markets we haven't gone
We're
to yet.
huge, but we're not even close to
We're just
scratching the
getting started.
potential.
We're
Yeah,
just getting
yeah.
started. I once made a mistake saying, I think we've done pretty well. And it's like, no, 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 we have a lot more to do. So I'm learning that there's a lot more, and the ambition is there and the opportunity really is there. And I think there's really a question, if not us, then who? Because there's a financial services segment that needs better solutions than exists today. And it's going to have to be a digital first company that's really leaning forward into the solutions that we can provide. And I think Nubank's talent, the culture, the focus on the customer, the mission about driving financial inclusion means it's a very big opportunity for disruption. But it's going to require focus and agility to move fast and try a multiple set of experiments to kind of see how they perform, capture those learnings, and continue to iterate. But that's kind of what this company started off doing. There was no clear path at the beginning,
Yeah.
and somehow we got
And
to
they
where we
told
did.
us it was impossible. And here we are, right?
And so that I love the comment about impossible. I always thought the same thing. Amazon providing free shipping to consumers over the internet. It was kind of like a crazy idea at the time, and now it's just commonplace. People assume it should happen, and I think that really is about redefining the new normal. And I think Nubank needs to be the one that sets the standard. And sure, others are going to have to follow and replicate it, but I think that's our opportunity. And in this moment, we should really go after and try to deliver that for our users.
As we come to an end, is there anything that you find particularly intimidating or exciting for the next few months ahead?
Well, it is only a multi-trillion-dollar market with customers over the world all looking for a solution here. So I think, the scale, the opportunity, the timeline, the set of tools that we're bringing to the table, this is an opportunity that we need to serve well. And it is a global world. It's a planet for us to kind of bring this technology forward to. But I feel like we have the right team and the right people and the right mentality internally to do it. And I'm excited to track our progress through the podcast to come.
Yeah, our customer obsession is going to take us there.
For sure.
And before we wrap, any comments on getting to know Brazilian culture? And, soon enough, you'll be diving into Mexico and Colombia as well.
Well, I wish I could say I was all phenomenally geared up to speak the local language. I managed to get the cellular roaming configured locally. So for a CTO, that's the hardest technical problem I faced so far.
Thank you so much, Eric. And thank you to the listeners for staying till the end.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.